Wow. The Supreme Court has changed Ghana's politics forever. You see, this new development by the Supreme Court to cancel the system of letting only delegates to vote in choosing a presidential or parliamentary candidate will be a big blow to politicians. Now, it will be very hard and tough for those who share the TVs, the fridge, the monies, and all kinds of things just to influence a delegate vote. Because now, if you must pay, you must be looking at thousands or millions of voters. So yeah, you must be thinking of billions of dollars to spend if you want to do that. So it's either you stop doing that or you think about the billions of dollars that you need to spend. So Mr. Politician, sir, are you ready for this? Okay, let's get to it. You see, imagine belong to a political party for 20 or 30 years. You actually pay your dues. You attend meetings. You campaign from house to house. You defend the party every election season. You go your all in and you're all out for this party. And then it gets to a point where you have to elect a presidential candidate or parliamentary candidate. And when it comes to that person who will become your presidential or parliamentary candidate, you don't get to make a decision. What? How do you feel? So this became an issue to a lot of people. So instead of somebody else voting on your behalf, taking that decision on your behalf, today, the Supreme Court has decided to end that system. You see, that has been Ghana's delegate system for decades. And honestly, this had never sat well with my conscience. In fact, I believe that was the same question many people wanted answers to. But today, ladies and gentlemen, that era seems to have come to an end. And here is how it happened. On the 29th of July 2026, Ghana Supreme Court delivered what I believe is one of the most significant constitutional decisions in our fourth republic. You see, in a 5-2 majority jury decision, the court ruled that limiting the selection of presidential and parliamentary candidates to just delegates only is unconstitutional. The court is saying that, whoa, this is not going to work anymore. They won't accept. Let that sink in very well. You see, the court believes every member of a political party is important and is in good standing and has the constitutional right to participate in choosing the people who will eventually lead them. What do you think? Don't you think the same way? Well, you see, it appears that whilst we wanted answers to some of these questions, because this was weird to some of us, that why will a few people select a presidential or parliamentary candidate? Whilst we were pondering, it appeared that some great and important citizens of this country were already taking the step. So Professor Kwabena Frimpong Watin, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklu, and Dr. Christine Amwakun Niama had the same questions that we had. So yeah, they led the legal process of getting this system discarded. So in the suit, they asked two key questions. The first one was, why should a few hundred or a few thousand delegates determine the future of millions of party supporters? And the second question they asked was, is a delegate more important than an ordinary party member? And interestingly, even the Attorney General seems to have agreed to these thought-provoking questions. So now, the Supreme Court has spoken. The court relied on Article 55 of Ghana's 1992 Constitution, which requires political parties to conform to democratic principles. Yes, there are democratic principles. So in other words, if Ghana is a democratic country, then democracy should not stop at the entrance of political parties with only delegates. No, not at all. That's not how democracy should work, according to the Supreme Court. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a good move because political parties are the gatekeepers of political leadership. You see, that means if internal democracy is weak, like if some people do not have the take, if majority of the people do not have a say or the take, it affects national democracy as well. And national democracy becomes weak. So this ruling attempts to solve that problem. Instead of only delegates deciding, the court says every qualified party member should have a voice. Wow. Now here's what many people are saying. Oh, they are saying this will end vote buying. And I thought as much. Well, perhaps, because if millions of members are now going to vote instead of only few delegates, it will become much more difficult and far more expensive to influence an election by targeting just a group of people who are few or small. Now you have a huge number. So if you must spend, then you must spend in billions. And are you ready? Because now candidates may now spend less time lobbying delegates behind closed doors and more time engaging ordinary party members. Now is the time that you have to do the work properly. If that happens, this will strengthen grassroots politics. But you see, ladies and gentlemen, every solution that comes also has its own challenges. This is a new development and it has its challenges. But when at the end of the day, we are looking at the greater benefit compared to the lesser challenges. So that money you will be using to buy the TVs, to buy the fridges, to buy the cars, whatever that you share as it is alleged, maybe you can use this money for the process that will require fair, free, and grassroots participation. As I speak to you right now, the Supreme Court has given all political parties 1 year to amend their constitution and internal election procedures to comply with this new ruling. So, the work starts now. Political parties, the work starts today. Another point people are raising is whether previous party elections could now become invalid. Not at all. That's not it. The ones that they've had, the court made it very clear that all previous elections conducted under the delegate system before this ruling and within the time frame given to the compliance remain valid. This ruling operates prospectively. That's what they said. They said it changes the future and not the past. So, ladies and gentlemen, beyond the legal argument, I believe this judgment sends a much bigger message. And that message is that power should continuously move closer to the people. Whether in government, in political parties, or in any democratic institution, the more ordinary or grassroots members participate, the stronger democracy becomes. And of course, others will disagree. Some argue that delegates are usually experienced party leaders who understand the party's ideology better than the ordinary members. Well, if that's your argument, that's fine. Those concerns are also legitimate. But nothing beats the fact that election should be free, fair, participatory, and non-selective, especially for grassroots members. Grassroots members have suffered for a very long time in Ghana here. Their voice have been shut for a very long time in Ghana. And I think it's time for them to become happy. Now they get to make the decision. So I won't twist this conversation it will simply be about delegates versus members. No, not at all. It is about balancing efficiency when it comes to democracy. So, ladies and gentlemen, history may remember this judgment as the day Ghana fundamentally changed how political leaders emerge. Because over the next 12 months, one thing, however, is beyond dispute. And that is Ghana's political landscape has changed today. The rules have changed. And political parties must now adapt. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a good thing. And our Supreme Court, our judicial system, I salute you for this. I am Sikadwa Kofi. If today is your first time watching me, kindly subscribe to my channel. And I want you to leave your comments so that I'll get to read what you also think about it. And then come back the next time. Let's have another meaningful conversation. For now, say God bless you. And it is bye-bye.